In this video, we are going to identify types of functions from a graph. We're going to focus on what we should be looking for a linear function versus a quadratic. Now, the things you want to remember about these two functions, if you want to observe their shape, that's going to give you what you want. A linear function, just like the word line is contained in it, will always have a straight line graph. All lines are linear functions. As long as they're not a vertical line, you would consider it a linear function. So lines that are sloping upward, lines that are sloping downward, lines that are horizontal, all those lines are linear functions. Now, a quadratic function has a U-shaped, like we see here. It could be a U that is pointing up, a traditional U, or it could be an upside down U. If it is pointing upward or downward, we would consider that a quadratic function. Now, look at the tables. The tables, some things to look for. A linear function will always have this equidistant here, should always have an equal distance away from the y's. So you'll notice that there is one distance here and two there. One distance there, two there. If you change this distance, it will change this distance accordingly. So the y over x, the change in y over change in x in this particular line will always be positive 2. And we can see that for all the values in that. So that's what you should expect to see in a table. For a quadratic, you're going to see a low point for our u if that is traditionally going pointing upward. If it is upside down, you would see a high point, and you should see some values repeated themselves. Now, the reason that happens is because a quadratic is based upon a square. So look for the y values to have some type of square pattern. Look for some repeats. That's going to be helpful in a quadratic. So in this particular case, it's 2 times -1 squared, 2 times 0 squared, 2 times 1 squared, and 2 times 2 squared, even though our x's are always 1 apart. So if we look at these particular graphs, we can see very clearly what they are. This one here would be considered a quadratic, even though it's upside down, that's fine. See how here we have some y values that have repeated itself. We have a y value, that vertex of our quadratic, that is our highest point, or in some cases our lowest point. Here is our linear function. As our x's are spaced equally apart, our y's would also be spaced equally apart. That's that slope of that line. So that one is our linear function, and that one is our quadratic. So that is a little bit about how we identify types of functions from a graph and what we should look for a quadratic versus a linear function. Thank you so much for watching. You have a good day.